Bonsoir mesdames et messieurs. Bienvenue à cette projection doublement exceptionnelle de We Can't Go Home Again. D'une part parce que c'est en fait l'une des rares projections de ce film depuis qu'il a été entièrement restauré, puisque, comme vous l'avez peut-être lu, We Can't Go Home Again est un film qui était resté longtemps à peu près inachevé, enfin on aura l'occasion d'en parler par la suite, qui avait été présenté au Festival de Cannes en 1973, et donc qui est un film assez exceptionnel à différents titres dans la carrière de Nicholas Ray. Soirée exceptionnelle à double titre aussi parce que nous avons le plaisir d'accueillir ce soir Susan Ray, qui est la femme de Nicholas Ray, qui est aussi une cinéaste depuis peu, puisqu'elle a réalisé un documentaire que vous avez peut-être vu, puisque nous l'avons déjà programmé, qui raconte justement une bonne partie de l'histoire de la façon dont ce film s'est fait, et aussi une façon, c'est plus profondément peut-être un film qui raconte la manière de penser le cinéma de Nicholas Ray, mais on pourra y revenir par la suite. Et ensuite parce que Susan Ray est aussi co-auteure de ce film, dont elle a suivi toutes les étapes, jusqu'à celles qui ont suivi, au fond, la présentation à Cannes, à savoir les étapes de sa restauration qui a été présentée pour la première fois au dernier Festival international du film de Venise, et que nous avons le plaisir de présenter pour la première fois ce soir en Suisse, dans une version qui n'est pas encore tout à fait la version idéale que nous souhaiterions vous présenter, parce qu'on se souhaitait pouvoir vous présenter une copie 35 mm, mais pour l'instant c'est encore assez compliqué de pouvoir obtenir une copie 35 mm de ce film. Ça viendra, on l'aura, et on aura l'occasion de vous le reproposer ultérieurement dans la programmation de la Cinémathèque suisse. Mais avant de passer la parole pour quelques mots à Susan Ray, j'aimerais passer la parole à quelqu'un par qui cette rétrospective est arrivée, puisque cette rétrospective en hommage à Nicholas Ray, qui aurait eu 100 ans cette année, a été, on dit, le mot de curateur, c'est ce qu'on dit, mais curer, ça ne va pas vraiment, soigner, préparer, organiser, penser, par Rui Nogueira. Donc je vais peut-être d'abord demander à Rui de dire quelques mots, et ensuite je passerai la parole à Susan. Rui.
Voilà, c'est une soirée qui est très importante pour moi aussi, parce que c'est un retour un peu à mes passions de jeunesse, vu que j'étais un grand admirateur de Nicolas Ray. Quand j'ai quitté le Mozambique, je suis venu à Paris, et qu'à Paris j'ai rencontré une fille qui connaissait Nicolas Ray, qui me dit: tu peux te le présenter? J'étais enchanté de ça, bien sûr, et Nicolas Ray habitait à l'époque à l'île Saint-Louis, dans une maison de son ami James Jones, qui a écrit From Here to Eternity. Et donc je vais le voir avec l'enthousiasme de ma jeunesse et tout, et il me demande vous aimez Johnny Guitar? Et je dis oui, terrible. Il dit ah bon, passons à autre chose. Et vous aimez Beethoven? Oui, terrible. J'étais très content. Après qu'on a compris que terrible en anglais, ça ne voulait pas dire formidable, quoi. Voilà, ça a été ce premier contact. Après on a eu beaucoup d'autres contacts, mais avec les mots justes. Voilà. Et je suis très contente que Susan soit là. C'est un grand moment aussi. C'est dire, c'est vrai ce que Frédéric a dit, on vous présentera le film d'autres fois, mais avec la présence de Susan, c'est un moment unique. Et on tient à saluer ça. Merci.
Merci, Rui. Et alors, laissez-moi vous présenter Susan Ray. Welcome in Lausanne. Welcome at Swiss Cinémathèque. Merci. Susan parle en fait très bien le français, mais well, we'll do some things in English, I think.
Est-ce que ça va si je parle anglais ou non?
Yeah, I think so.
Both?
Oh.
Un mélange. First, I'd like to congratulate all of you for coming. It's an act of courage. I have to say, because this film has a reputation for being, quote, experimental. And that seems to be a word that terrifies people. What it means to me, and what Nick's films have always meant to me, you have to work. This is not a film you can sit back and just receive your entertainment casually. You're going to have to work, I'm sorry. But it's good work. It's the work of the soul. It's the kind of work that's gonna, from my point of view, save the planet. Not to be melodramatic about it, but I feel that way. This is a film that is undertaking several experiments. The first is that this film was made by Nick to teach a class of totally inexperienced college students how to make a film. It was his belief that the only way you can learn how to make a film is by making a film, by getting your hands on it and your body into it. That was experiment number 1, which is already pretty daunting if you ask me. The next experiment was in what he called photojournalism, journalistic film. Not photojournalistic film, journalistic film, by which he intended to record the manners, the mores, the emotions of people in their everyday lives. So he shot a huge amount of footage, not only because the students couldn't focus a camera at the beginning, but because he wanted to catch them living their lives. He felt that there was a growing alienation between most of us and the power structure over us, so that those in power were becoming increasingly anonymous and unaccountable. And that this anonymous power structure, which is so obvious today, this was 40 years ago, mind you, that this power structure was creating a kind of anxiety, une angoisse, and that one of the ways we could counteract that anxiety and the effects of this kind of sickness of power was to become more aware of how we live and what our emotions are on a very simple and everyday level. So that was experiment number 2. Experiment number 3 will become most apparent to you. It's the multiple image. In 93 minutes of film, you're going to see, 93 minutes of running time, you're going to see maybe 4 or 5 hours of film. And you'll see at times up to 6 images on the screen at once. And the idea was that we don't think in straight lines. If we were truly aware of how our consciousness functions, it's spherical. It's like the cosmos. It's fully dimensioned. And he was trying to create that. He was trying to break the rectangle, break the hard lines of the rectangle, the confinement, and open up the mind. It's a reflection of consciousness that he never used those terms, but that's what I feel he was trying to do. So you've got 3 big experiments going on and no money. So the film was never really finished. And this is the challenge for you as an audience. You're watching an unfinished film. And that's, for some, is frustrating. For others, it's driven them to conclude that Nick had lost his capacity as a filmmaker, lost his discernment as to what was good film and what was bad film. I don't believe that was true. I believe he didn't get a chance to finish it. So, as you watch, part of your work might be to try and imagine what this film could be if he had had the chance to apply the film craft that you've seen in his other films to this one. He didn't have the money, he didn't have the crew, he didn't have the time. Finally, I just want to say that I think that Nick captures here a very critical moment in our cultural, political history. A time when he saw young people withdrawing from political confrontation into a kind of what Nick called was the search for self-image, la recherche pour une image de soi-même. And he saw this as potentially extremely dangerous. As he put it, as dangerous as a riot. What's the word for riot in French?
Émeute.
Because he saw the potential for what the word we throw around all the time now, narcissism, for a kind of materialism, and for getting stuck in an image rather than moving fluently with the nature of life, which is change. So he caught that. He caught these young people who had been disappointed, profoundly disappointed at at how the political activism of the 60s had resolved, which is to say it didn't resolve. Basically, people just retreated from political confrontation. It was too tough. The power structure was too intangible, and everything that our generation was fighting against, in a sense, we failed, and we just slinked away with our tails between our legs in a way. And as one of the characters says, we wanted to do our own thing. Forget about helping other people, we'll do our own things. So Nick caught that particular moment, and I think that that moment is very much the understory of what's happening all over the world right now. So if we can understand it better, maybe it's not too late, I don't know. Anyway, I encourage you to endure any discomfort that arises in watching an unfinished film, a challenging film, a film without stars or glamour, but a film that is emotionally true and historically revealing and profoundly human.
Thanks, Susan. Thanks a lot. Et on se retrouvera de toute manière à la fin, justement, pour encore en discuter un peu avec Suzanne et vous, bien sûr, après la projection. Merci, à tout de suite.